There are moments in life when God does not simply call a woman, He marks her. He sets her apart in a way that cannot be imitated, duplicated, or stolen. And you can feel it. You can feel it in your spirit that there is something different about you, something that refuses to blend into the crowd, something that will not let you settle for an ordinary life. When God places His hand upon a woman, she walks with a weight that others cannot understand, a conviction that others cannot explain, and a purpose that others cannot erase. And today, I want to speak directly to the women who know, deep within their soul, that they were not created to walk the common path. You were created to walk the God-marked path. When a woman is chosen by God, she carries signs, spiritual signatures written not on her skin, but on her destiny. These signs are not always obvious to the world, but they are unmistakable in the spiritual realm. And if you've ever wondered why your journey has never looked like anyone else's, why your battles were heavier, why your path was harder, why your spirit fell deeper, let me tell you now, you were never chosen for something small. God does not invest His greatness into a woman for the sake of mediocrity. If God has placed a mark on you, it is because He has placed a mission in you. I want you to listen with a spiritual ear. I am not here to entertain you. I am here to awaken you. I am here to stir your spirit until you can no longer deny the truth about yourself. Many women admire the strength of the chosen, but only a few realize that such strength comes from struggle. Many admire the glow, but few understand the fire required to produce it. And if you have felt the fire, the pressure, the loneliness, the deep inner shifting, then you are not just watching this message, you are being summoned by God through it. There are markers God places on chosen women that shape them into instruments of His purpose. These marks are not physical. They are spiritual identifications, invisible to human eyes, but undeniable to the soul. And when God chooses a woman, He prepares her for influence that reaches beyond her own life. He prepares her to shape generations. He prepares her to carry assignments that others would collapse under. He prepares her to withstand storms that others would run from. He prepares her to walk through doors that others are too afraid to open. And because of this, He marks her long before she understands why. Some of you have carried unusual experiences since you were young. Experiences that made you feel different even when you could not explain it. You may have been the quiet one, the observant one, the one who felt deeply, the one who sensed things others ignored. You may have carried a maturity beyond your years or a sensitivity that others mocked. People may have misunderstood you, but God was shaping you. God was drawing you out, setting you apart, preparing you for a divine identity that only He could reveal. Chosen women are not chosen because they are perfect. They are chosen because God sees what others overlook. He sees endurance where others see weakness. He sees spiritual hunger where others see sensitivity. He sees courage where others see quietness. He sees purpose where others see pain. And when God chooses a woman, He does not make her life easier. He makes her spirit stronger. He molds her through challenges so she becomes a force that cannot be shaken. And if you have survived storms that should have destroyed you, understand this. Survival is not accidental. Survival is a mark. Chosen women experience an unusual stirring inside them, especially in seasons of transition. It feels like a pressure, a pulling, a stretching. Not because something is wrong, but because God is enlarging them. God never elevates a woman without first expanding her capacity. He stretches her spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. And though the stretching is uncomfortable, it is necessary. God cannot pour greatness into a spirit that is not prepared to hold it. When God chooses a woman, He reorders her relationships. People leave her life without explanation. Friendships shift. Familiar circles fall away. Not because she did anything wrong, but because God clears the space around her. He removes what is not aligned with her next level. And chosen women must learn to stop grieving what God is pruning. When God allows separation, He is making room for elevation. Sometimes the people who leave are the ones who would have suffocated her destiny had they stayed. Chosen women often go through seasons where they feel spiritually isolated. Not lonely, isolated. There is a difference. Loneliness is emptiness. Isolation is preparation. Loneliness drains the spirit. Isolation trains the spirit. Loneliness makes you feel forgotten. Isolation positions you to be revealed. If God has ever pulled you away from the noise of the world so He could speak to you, if He has ever silenced your environment so He could strengthen your inner world, it is because He marked you for something bigger than the surroundings you once lived in. Chosen women have an inner resilience that cannot be fully explained. They break, but they rise. They cry, but they fight. They hurt, but they continue. They experience setbacks, but they don't surrender. Their strength is not a human strength. It is a God-fortified strength. A strength that grows in adversity. A strength that awakens under pressure. A strength that multiplies through trials. When life pushes them down, God pushes them up. When the world counts them out, God counts them forward. When storms rage against them, God anchors them. Another mark of a chosen woman is her spiritual intuition. She senses things before they happen. She feels shifts in atmospheres. She discerns motives. She perceives danger. She recognizes divine timing. She may not understand everything, but her spirit warns her, guides her, nudges her. She can feel when something is wrong, even when it looks right. She can sense when something is right, even when it looks impossible. This is not ordinary intuition. It is spiritual sensitivity granted only to those God trusts. Chosen women carry wounds that transform into wisdom. They do not let pain destroy them. They convert it. They refine it. They use it as fuel. What broke others strengthens them. What silenced others awakens them. What discouraged others empowers them. They do not run from their scars. They use them as testimony, because a chosen woman understands that God never wastes suffering. Every tear carries purpose. Every delay carries preparation. Every disappointment carries direction. Every closed door carries protection. A chosen woman's identity is not shaped by people. It is shaped by God. She does not need validation from the world because she is validated by the one who created the world. She does not chase acceptance because she is already accepted by God. She does not shrink to fit environments because she was built to shift atmospheres. She does not wait for permission from others because her assignment comes from God alone. She walks with authority, not arrogance, confidence, not pride, humility, not weakness. When she enters a room, she does not need to announce her strength. Her spirit announces it for her. Chosen women carry dreams that are too big for their environment. They feel ideas pressing on their spirit, visions stirring inside them, goals that intimidate even themselves. These dreams are not random. They are divine seeds planted by God. And if God planted them, God intends to grow them. Chosen women sense that their destiny is larger than their history, that their future carries more weight than their past. They feel pulled towards something greater, even when the path is unclear. Every dream in a chosen woman is a sign God is preparing to reveal something extraordinary through her life. Another mark is unusual favor. Opportunities open for them unexpectedly. People help them without reason. Doors appear that they did not knock on. This favor does not come from charm, beauty, or personality. It comes from God. When God decides to favor a woman, no force in the world can stop her. Favor does not remove challenges, but it gives her victory over them. Favor does not erase battles, but it guarantees triumph in them. When God favors a chosen woman, even her setbacks become setups. Chosen women often feel misunderstood by those around them because their spirit operates on a different wavelength. They think deeper, they see further, they love harder, they feel more intensely. They forgive in ways others do not understand. They believe in ways others find unrealistic. They hope when others doubt. They push forward when others quit. This misunderstanding is not a flaw. It is proof of God's mark. When God elevates a woman spiritually, He separates her mindset from the masses. Many chosen women carry the weight of responsibility from a young age. They were the caretakers, the problem solvers, the ones others leaned on. They grew up faster than they should have, not because life was unfair, but because God was shaping them for leadership. God was training them to manage pressure, to carry burdens, to stand firm when others fall apart. This early responsibility becomes a foundation for the authority they walk in later. When a chosen woman speaks, her words carry power, not because she is loud, but because she is aligned with God. Her voice carries influence, guidance, encouragement, and sometimes correction. She inspires without trying, motivates without forcing, uplifts without effort. Her presence shifts atmospheres because she carries God's presence within her. She speaks with clarity, conviction, and courage. She doesn't need to pretend. Her authenticity is her strength. Chosen women often experience spiritual warfare that feels heavier than what others face. Their attacks are intense because their assignment is great. The enemy fights them harder because he fears what they will become. But every attack they survive becomes a badge of spiritual authority. Every battle strengthens their foundation. Every trial sharpens their discernment. God allows them to face strong opposition because He is building strong warriors. A chosen woman's heart is soft, but her spirit is fierce. She loves deeply but stands firmly. She is gentle in her compassion, but unyielding in her purpose. She is calm in her demeanor, but unstoppable in her calling. Her power is in her sincerity. Her strength is in her faith. Her authority is in her obedience. She does not seek to dominate. She seeks to fulfill. She does not chase positions. She carries purpose. She does not need to prove her worth. Her worth is defined by God. Chosen women walk through life with a spiritual stamina others do not understand. They persevere through storms, endure through seasons of silence, and rise even when everything around them collapses. They do not quit. They do not fold. They do not surrender. They hold on to God with a grip that cannot be broken. And because of this, God opens paths for them that others never see. Sometimes the chosen woman feels unqualified, unprepared, or inadequate. But God specializes in using those who feel unqualified to accomplish what seems impossible. God does not choose her because she is ready. He chooses her so He can ready her. He does not choose her because she has strength. He chooses her so He can strengthen her. He does not choose her because she has a perfect life. He chooses her because her heart is surrendered. Chosen women walk through seasons where God hides them before He reveals them. He places them in quiet seasons, away from noise, away from recognition, away from public view. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Visibility requires maturity. Influence requires discipline. Impact requires purification. Before God places a woman on a platform, He shapes her in private. He refines her character, removes her fears, heals her wounds, and fortifies her spirit. A chosen woman cannot be replaced. She carries an assignment that only she can fulfill. Her calling is tailor-made. Her path is uniquely designed. Her purpose is divinely crafted. God did not create her to be a copy of anyone else. He created her to pioneer, to lead, to break cycles, to shift atmospheres, to influence generations, and everything she has survived has prepared her for everything she is about to walk into. Even when a chosen woman feels weak, God gives her strength. Even when she feels lost, God gives her direction. Even when she feels empty, God fills her. Even when she feels overlooked, God sees her. Her relationship with God becomes her anchor, her resting place, her source of clarity. She learns to trust God beyond her understanding, to obey God beyond her emotions, to follow God beyond her comfort. Chosen women are not defined by their past, they are defined by God's intention for their future. Their mistakes do not disqualify them. Their failures do not diminish them. Their regrets do not imprison them. God uses every piece of their story as raw material for their assignment. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Nothing is accidental. God has written purpose into every moment of her journey. When a chosen woman finally recognizes her identity, she becomes unstoppable. She walks differently. She speaks differently. She thinks differently. She decides differently. She no longer apologizes for her calling. She no longer shrinks to make others comfortable. She no longer allows fear to silence her. She steps into her purpose with confidence because she knows who backs her, guides her, strengthens her, and protects her. A chosen woman carries a spiritual fire that refuses to be extinguished even in the darkest seasons of her life. This fire is not born from motivation or inspiration. It is born from divine assignment. It is a fire God Himself breathes into her spirit, a fire that burns through confusion, through doubt, through obstacles, and through the distractions of the world. And this fire does not fade with time. It grows stronger every time she chooses to rise when she could have surrendered. Others may see only her strength, but what they do not see is the fire that God has placed inside her that fuels her every step. There are women who walk through life waiting for someone to confirm their worth. But a chosen woman understands that her worth was confirmed by God before she ever took her first breath. She does not look for approval because she is already appointed. She does not chase recognition because God has already set her apart. She is not intimidated by the success of others because she knows that her own journey is divinely scripted. God has written pages for her that cannot be rewritten, redirected, or reversed by any human voice. When God appoints a woman, He gives her a spiritual identity that the world cannot comprehend. She becomes a vessel capable of carrying revelation, strength, compassion, resilience, and divine insight all at once. She navigates life with a sensitivity that is not emotional weakness, but spiritual awareness. She feels what others overlook because God has sharpened her internal senses. She moves with precision, not because she is flawless, but because she is guided. Every step she takes is influenced by divine alignment. And even when she stumbles, God uses her missteps as redirection towards something greater. A chosen woman is never truly alone, even when she walks through isolation. God separates her so He can speak to her without interference. He removes the noise so she can hear the whispers of wisdom. He pulls her away from circles that dilute her purpose so He can place her among those who will expand it. And even in solitude, she feels an inner companionship that carries her. It is the presence of God surrounding her, strengthening her, reminding her of who she is and who she is becoming. There comes a moment in a chosen woman's life when God begins to stir her spirit in ways she cannot ignore. Her dreams change, her conversations deepen, her ambitions shift. What once satisfied her now feels too small. What once entertained her now feels empty. God enlarges her vision, expands her capacity, and awakens a hunger for something greater. This hunger is not for material achievement, but for alignment with the purpose God has written into the core of her being. She knows she was not created to simply exist. She was created to influence, to shape, to uplift, to carry something divine into a world desperate for God's presence. A chosen woman's battles are never ordinary. They are intense, targeted, and sometimes prolonged because she carries a destiny that threatens darkness. The resistance she faces is often a reflection of her calling. When the pressure increases, it is not a sign of abandonment, it is evidence of importance. God allows her to face spiritual storms so she can develop the strength required for her future assignment. Her struggles become training grounds for greater authority. Her endurance becomes the foundation for her influence. Her scars become reminders of the victories God has already granted her. One of the deepest marks of a chosen woman is her ability to rise from pain without becoming hardened by it. She feels deeply but she does not drown. She hurts honestly, but she does not remain broken. She mourns what she loses, but she never loses her faith. Every experience shapes her, but it never destroys her. God uses her sensitivity to sharpen her compassion and uses her strength to empower her resilience. She is gentle and fierce at the same time, soft in her heart, yet unshakable in her purpose. This balance is not humanly created. It is divinely constructed. A chosen woman sees through deception with a clarity that others envy. God anoints her mind with discernment so she can identify what is real and what is false. She does not fall easily for manipulation, nor is she easily swayed by appearances. She understands that not everything beautiful is good and not everything painful is bad. Her insight comes from a spiritual depth that cannot be imitated. She discerns when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move forward and when to wait, when to trust and when to withdraw. And this level of wisdom protects her steps and preserves her destiny. There is a spiritual authority in her presence that others can feel even before she speaks. This authority does not come from titles or achievements. It comes from the time she has spent in private communion with God. It comes from her surrendered heart. It comes from her unwavering trust. It comes from the battle she fought and the victories God granted her. When she walks into a room, her presence carries a weight that shifts the atmosphere. She does not demand respect. Respect is drawn to her spirit. She does not impose her influence. It radiates naturally. A chosen woman is not afraid of change, because she understands that transformation is part of spiritual elevation. God does not allow her to remain in environments that restrict her growth. He pushes her out of comfort zones, sometimes abruptly, sometimes gently, but always intentionally. She may resist at first, but eventually her spirit recognizes the divine timing in every transition. She learns to release what God has removed and embrace what God has prepared. Her adaptability is not weakness, it is wisdom. She trusts that God's plan is always greater than her preferences. She carries a boldness that surprises even herself. This boldness does not come from pride, arrogance, or ego. It comes from faith. It comes from knowing that if God is leading her, no obstacle can defeat her. She does not fear failure because she knows that every setback is a step toward wisdom. She does not fear rejection because she understands that God protects her from what is not meant for her. She does not fear uncertainty because she knows that her path is guided by the one who knows all things. Chosen women are guardians of their families, their communities, and their generations. They carry responsibilities that extend far beyond their personal lives. Their influence touches those around them in ways they may never fully see. They are pillars of stability, reservoirs of strength, anchors of wisdom. Even in moments of exhaustion, they continue to uphold others because God has placed in them a heart that cannot abandon responsibility. Their contribution to the world is not always loud, but it is always significant. There is a purity in their intention that makes their prayers powerful. When a chosen woman prays, her spirit aligns with divine will. Her words carry weight because they come from a heart surrendered to God. She prays with clarity, with purpose, with expectation. She knows that prayer is not empty speech. It is spiritual authority. It is conversation with the Creator. It is the release of burdens, the strengthening of the heart, the forging of destiny. Her prayers move mountains because her faith is anchored in God alone. A chosen woman also possesses an inner peace that confuses those who do not understand her connection with God. She may stand in the midst of storms, yet she remains calm. Not because she is emotionless, but because she is anchored. God becomes her stability, her resting place, her source of tranquility. Even when her world shakes, her soul does not collapse because she is grounded in something eternal. Her peace is not fragile. It is fortified by divine trust. Chosen women are not afraid to love deeply. They love with sincerity, with purity, with compassion. Their love is not naive, it is discerning. They give without losing themselves. They support without compromising their purpose. They uplift without draining their spirit. Their love reflects the kindness God has placed within them. It becomes a healing balm for those around them, a source of comfort, a reminder of divine mercy. There comes a time when a chosen woman's life begins to accelerate. Suddenly opportunities open, suddenly connections form, suddenly clarity arrives. People may call it luck, but she knows it is God's timing. Every slow season was preparation for this moment. Every silent season was spiritual training. Every painful season was inner strengthening. When God decides she is ready, He does not shift her slowly, He launches her. He opens doors she didn't know existed. He orchestrates divine alignment that elevates her beyond human understanding. A chosen woman's confidence is not loud, it is steady. It does not boast, it stands firm. It does not compete, it rises. She is confident because she knows she is walking in the path God has assigned to her. This confidence does not depend on circumstances. Even when life is uncertain, she remains grounded. Even when resources are limited, she remains hopeful. Even when people doubt her, she remains focused. Her confidence flows from her relationship with God, not from the opinions of others. She is also a cultivator of environments. Wherever she goes, she brings light, clarity, and peace. People feel safe in her presence. They feel seen. They feel understood. This is because she carries a spirit grounded in God's guidance. Her presence heals, comforts, and uplifts without effort. She becomes a reflection of divine compassion in human form, not through perfection, but through purpose. Chosen women do not fear being different. They embrace it. They recognize that their uniqueness is a divine signature, not a flaw. They are not threatened by other women because they understand that purpose is not a competition, it is a calling. Their identity is not rooted in comparison, but in conviction. They walk with a sense of individuality that inspires others to embrace their own God-given identity. One of the most incredible marks of a chosen woman is her ability to rebuild, even after devastation, even after betrayal, even after loss, even after failure. She rebuilds with determination, with faith, with courage. She understands that as long as God grants her breath, she has purpose. And as long as she has purpose, she has a path. Nothing she loses can compare to what God can restore. Nothing that breaks her can overpower what God strengthens in her. A chosen woman also carries a quiet bravery. She makes difficult decisions. She leaves environments that harm her spirit. She steps away from people who drain her energy. She walks into new seasons with faith, even when fear whispers in the background. Her bravery is not loud, it is consistent. It is the kind of bravery that chooses growth over comfort, purpose over familiarity, and God over everything. Her intuition is a gift, but her obedience is her power. She hears the nudge of God in her spirit and moves even when the path is unclear. She trusts the divine whispers. She follows the internal guidance that only God can give. Obedience becomes her strength. It carries her into places that discipline alone could never reach. When she obeys, doors open. When she obeys, clarity comes. When she obeys, blessings flow. Obedience positions her under the waterfall of divine favor. A chosen woman's presence is not ordinary because she carries a spiritual responsibility that shapes the world around her. She is a living testimony of what God can do with a surrendered heart. Her life becomes a message. Her resilience becomes inspiration. Her faith becomes a roadmap. Others watch her journey and find courage for their own. And she walks with this responsibility not as a burden, but as an honor. She is chosen because she can carry what others cannot. She can withstand what others avoid. She can navigate paths others fear. She can endure storms others run from. She has been spiritually engineered to accomplish what her destiny requires. Nothing about her strength is accidental. Nothing about her journey is random. Nothing about her position is coincidental. God has crafted her with intentionality. And there will come a moment, perhaps soon, when everything begins to make sense. The pain, the delays, the disappointments, the isolation, the unexpected changes, the spiritual stretching, all of it will come together in a revelation that will make her realize that every moment was preparation for the life she was chosen to live. When God marks a woman for a divine purpose, her spirit begins to operate on a frequency that cannot be understood by those who have not walked through the fires she has survived. She feels movements within her soul that others might dismiss. She receives impressions, warnings, insights, and convictions that seem to come out of nowhere, yet she knows exactly where they come from. God sharpens her awareness until she can sense the shifts around her long before the world notices. She becomes spiritually alert, spiritually awake, spiritually attuned. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is the evidence that God has placed her on a higher path, one where ordinary perception is not enough. She must see beyond what is seen, feel beyond what is felt, and understand beyond what is spoken, because her assignment requires divine clarity. A chosen woman also carries a sacred restlessness, a discomfort that rises in her spirit whenever she is standing in a place too small for her destiny. This restlessness is not confusion. It is God pushing her forward. It is divine pressure urging her out of environments she has outgrown. It is a spiritual signal alerting her that her season is shifting. She cannot settle where she used to settle. She cannot tolerate what she used to tolerate. She cannot hide in the shadows where she once found comfort. God is expanding her, stretching her, preparing her for a greater dimension of responsibility. The discomfort she feels is God carving space inside her for blessings she has not yet received, wisdom she has not yet walked in, and opportunities she has not yet touched. Life begins to feel too tight, too small, too limited, because God is making room for the extraordinary. There are moments when God brings a chosen woman into silence, not because He is distant, but because He is working deeply within her. In this silence, she begins to hear her own spirit more clearly. She begins to hear the whispers of truth that get lost in noise. She begins to recognize what drains her, what strengthens her, what aligns with her purpose, and what pulls her away from it. God uses quiet seasons to rebuild her from within. These are the moments when He rearranges her desires, refocuses her priorities, and fortifies her heart. In this silence, she finds strength she never knew she possessed. She discovers clarity that has been waiting for her attention. She learns to walk with God in a way that does not depend on external confirmation, but on internal conviction. A chosen woman also carries a courage that does not always look dramatic to the world, yet it shapes her entire destiny. This courage is found in the moments she decides to keep moving when everything around her says stop. It shows up when she chooses faith over fear, purpose over comfort, growth over familiarity. It rises quietly and consistently, helping her step into the unknown with confidence that does not come from her abilities, but from her trust in God. Her courage is not loud because it does not need to be. Its strength lies in its consistency. It is the daily decision to rise, to continue, to trust, to hope, that persistence becomes the force that carries her into seasons she once thought were beyond her reach. When God chooses a woman, He also places a distinct resilience within her. This resilience is not born from personality. It is born from divine reinforcement. She may bend under pressure, but she does not break. She may cry through seasons of heaviness, but she does not collapse. She may feel moments of uncertainty, but she does not lose her direction. God becomes her anchor, her foundation, her source of strength. Every trial she faces becomes another thread in the fabric of her inner power. Every disappointment becomes a stepping stone toward greater wisdom. Every challenge becomes training for spiritual authority. Her resilience is evidence that God has reinforced her spirit in ways she cannot fully see, but can always feel. A chosen woman is tested deeply because she is trusted deeply. God allows her to walk through situations that seem impossible, not to weaken her, but to reveal her capacity. He permits seasons that stretch her because He knows what He has placed within her. Her tears are not signs of defeat. They are signs of transformation. Her pain is not punishment, it is preparation. The intensity of her journey is a reflection of the magnitude of her calling. Others may question why her life has been filled with so many battles, but she is beginning to understand that warriors are not trained in comfort. They are shaped through resistance. They are built in adversity. They are refined in fire. And God has chosen her to be a warrior of influence, a carrier of strength, a vessel of spiritual impact. There's also a quiet confidence that emerges within a chosen woman as she grows. This confidence is not rooted in appearance, achievements, or affirmation. It is rooted in purpose. It is rooted in truth. It is rooted in God. She begins to walk with a certainty that cannot be shaken by criticism or comparison. She stops apologizing for her growth. She stops shrinking to make others comfortable. She stops carrying guilt for prioritizing her peace. She stops tolerating environments that diminish her spirit. She stands tall, not because she wants to be seen, but because she refuses to hide what God has planted within her. A chosen woman's mind is a battlefield where God teaches her the power of divine thinking. She learns to challenge her doubts, dismantle her fears, and rise above the narratives that once imprisoned her. God trains her to think with clarity, to speak with intention, to believe with conviction. He removes the old patterns that kept her limited and replaces them with thoughts aligned with purpose. Her mind becomes a place where faith grows, wisdom strengthens, and direction is born. She becomes mentally fortified, emotionally stable, spiritually grounded. As she grows, God begins to separate her from certain people, not because He wants her to be lonely, but because He wants her to be aligned. He removes those who cannot walk with her into her next season. He closes doors that would distract her from her assignment. He exposes intentions that were hidden behind false support. Every departure, every distance, every disconnection becomes protection. God surrounds her with those who value her spirit, understand her calling, and support her growth. She learns that divine alignment matters more than human approval. A chosen woman also carries a divine patience that others do not understand. She learns that rushing is not the way of God. She recognizes that timing is sacred. She begins to value process more than speed, purpose more than urgency. She trusts that what is meant for her cannot be taken from her, and what is not meant for her cannot be forced into her life. Her patience becomes a weapon, a shield, a source of wisdom. It keeps her grounded when emotions rise. It keeps her focused when distractions multiply. It keeps her aligned when opportunities seem delayed. She knows that when God delivers something into her life, it will come with peace, clarity, and divine confirmation. A chosen woman's voice carries weight because it is shaped by truth. When she speaks, her words uplift, strengthen, and shift the atmosphere. She does not speak to impress, she speaks to impact. She does not speak from ego, she speaks from experience. Her voice carries the authority of someone who has walked with God through valleys and mountains. People listen, not because she demands attention, but because her spirit draws it naturally. Her words hold a healing quality, a grounding quality, a transformative quality. There is also a mark of spiritual boldness within her that cannot remain hidden. Over time, she begins to stand firm in her boundaries, her identity, her values, and her purpose. She refuses to be manipulated, controlled, or diminished. She refuses to settle for relationships that weaken her spirit. She refuses to participate in conversations that drain her energy. She refuses to allow fear to dictate her decisions. She becomes bold, not because she's fearless, but because she knows who guides her steps. When God elevates a chosen woman, He elevates her internally before He elevates her externally. He shifts her thinking before He shifts her circumstances. He strengthens her spirit before He strengthens her position. He increases her wisdom before He increases her influence. People may not see the internal transformation, but it becomes evident in the way she carries herself. The elevation begins within her long before it manifests around her. A chosen woman understands that her life is not random. Her experiences are not wasted. Her gifts are not accidental. Her presence is not ordinary. She is part of a larger design, a divine strategy, a purposeful blueprint crafted by the Creator Himself. She recognizes that everything she has survived has shaped her into a vessel capable of carrying something powerful, something meaningful, something transformative. Her journey becomes a message. Her scars become her testimonies. Her breakthroughs become her responsibility. Her growth becomes her offering. Every part of her existence becomes intertwined with divine intention. She rises because God strengthens her. She endures because God sustains her. She succeeds because God guides her. She shines because God has placed His hand upon her spirit. When you reach the final stretch of a message like this, there comes a moment when the heart becomes fully open, the spirit becomes fully alert, and the soul becomes ready to receive what it once resisted. And I want you right now in this very moment to allow your heart to be completely honest before God. Because there are seasons in life when God calls a person forward, not with noise, but with a silent stirring. There are hours when God presses on your spirit, and you cannot ignore it. You feel it in the weight of your thoughts, in the tremble in your emotions, in the invisible pull that keeps drawing you closer to Him, even when you try to remain still. That is the moment you are standing in right now. God is reaching for you, and you know it. God is calling you to rise, and you can feel it. God is urging you to step into a version of yourself that you have never allowed yourself to become. You cannot walk away from this moment unchanged. God did not bring you here to merely listen. He brought you here to awaken. He brought you here because there is a greater purpose breathing beneath your ribs, a deeper strength waiting to rise, a hidden identity that you have ignored for too long. For some of you, life has bent your shoulders, drained your confidence, and silenced your spirit. But God is lifting your chin again. God is straightening your back again. God is speaking courage into you again. And this is the moment when you choose whether to step into what He has been preparing you for, or to shrink back into what is familiar. Do not return to who you were. Do not go back to the version of yourself that life tried to limit. God is calling you to walk in the identity He placed in you before the world ever formed its opinion about you. There is a fire inside you that God Himself ignited, and you must not let it die. There is a strength in you that God Himself planted, and you must not let it remain buried. There is a purpose that has been knocking on the door of your heart, and you must finally open that door. If God has chosen you, if God has placed His mark on you, if God has stirred your soul in this very message, then you cannot remain neutral. You cannot stay silent. You cannot be passive. You must rise with conviction. You must rise with clarity. You must rise with a decision that tells the world, I belong to God and I will walk in the identity He gave me. Look at your life with honesty and courage. Where have you allowed fear to lead you? Where have you allowed doubt to keep you small? Where have you allowed the voices of this world to control the voice of your destiny? You know that God has been whispering to you. You know that God has been nudging you. You know that God has been waiting for you to stop doubting what He placed inside you. Your future will not be built by hesitation. Your breakthrough will not come by delay. Your purpose will not manifest through half-hearted faith. This is the moment when you surrender every excuse, every insecurity, every hesitation, and lay them all before God with the humility to say, lead me, strengthen me, transform me. Let your heart become bold again. Let your spirit become alive again. Let your purpose become clear again. God does not choose the faint-hearted. He strengthens the willing-hearted. God does not wait for perfection. He responds to surrender. God does not look for flawless people. He looks for people who are ready to trust Him more than they trust their fears. And if you are willing, truly willing, God will take you where you could never take yourself. God will raise you in ways you never imagined. God will open doors you never saw coming. God will lift you above the weight of every burden that tried to hold you down. So now this is your call to rise. Rise with the understanding that God has marked you for something higher. Rise with the certainty that God has planted greatness in you. Rise with the spiritual authority to declare that your life will no longer be shaped by fear, but by faith. Rise with the humility to return to God with every piece of your heart. Rise with the strength to walk away from whatever has been draining you. Rise with the discipline to protect your purpose as fiercely as God protects your future. Rise with the clarity that you were not created to blend into the world, but to stand out as one called, chosen, and strengthened by God Himself. Let these final words echo in the deepest places of your soul. You are chosen. You are set apart. You are marked by God with a purpose that cannot be erased. Your life is not random. Your struggle is not without meaning. Your journey is not without divine direction. God has been with you in every valley, every tear, every unanswered question, every quiet prayer you whispered in the dark. And now God is calling you out of the shadows and into the fullness of who you were created to be. Step forward with confidence. Step forward with faith. Step forward with the fire that God has placed inside your spirit. Do not let this moment pass without making a decision that honors the one who has carried you, shaped you, protected you, and chosen you. Open your heart fully. Surrender your fears completely. Walk into your purpose courageously. Let your life become a reflection of the God who chose you, strengthened you, and prepared you for a destiny far greater than anything you have ever imagined.